Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and I have a very special guest with me, the Star Wars dad himself. Guys, I want to give a huge shout out to Nooch. He has been putting out some amazing content, and I want to say I was watching the Proving Grounds the other day where you got Commander Tano with, like, with the Kylo, and then watching the Inquisitors that you did was, like, the craziest thing, because that was the most ridiculous event. So I want to first talk about that, because that was impressive.
I played that live on a stream. I was doing Grand Arena, and I did a little vote, and they all wanted to see Proving Grounds because I was like 20 shards away from Commander Ahsoka, and I got that done. But then I went over to I had not done the TIE Interceptor because this was the second time through, I think, for TIE Interceptor.
Yep.
And I couldn't figure it out last time. Yeah, so it took me like 20 tries, and we tried like a trailee. We tried about 20 different teams, and tell you what, that was brutal, dude. That was brutal.
Yeah, I was when I was watching, I'm like, man, you put the turn meter tech on Kylo, and I was like, he is gonna die so quickly, and it just like it panned out perfectly, and I was like, he's a genius now. Like that's the strategy.
That was lucky because every time he gains turn meter, he loses health, and he was down to like 4 health bars, and that was all of his health bars.
Yep.
Like it looked like 2015, like that's all the health bars he had. But it was fun. I was glad to put it out. It was that was a blast.
Yeah, I have a bunch of questions because you have your main account, and then you've got the like Hyperdrive account, and then you have your new free to play account. And so I wanted to go to the Hyperdrive one because I think that you've done almost like I'd say the most work on in terms of you got the Hyperdrive, and it's a pretty impressive account. So what is that ally code?
All right, give me a minute. Are you able to edit this out?
Oh gosh, or throw it in the. Oh yeah, gosh, yeah. No, I don't want to shout that ally code for everybody because then you get a million.
No. I just don't have it up. I don't care who has it.
Oh, yeah, I don't care. You can just.
No, I just don't have it. I don't have it up. I got to pull the game up right now.
The joke on this channel is I don't edit. I like. It's like a running joke. I've gotten up in the middle of videos to stop my cats from scratching in this basement. Like.
So we need to get together. I'll be Qui-Gon. You can be Obi-Wan, and I'll show you some things editing, and we can get you going. Hang on. I'm pulling it up here right now.
I think Obi-Wan would be too much of a compliment for my abilities. It'd be like Qui-Gon and Jar Jar.
Okay, that works. And then I could say, something like the ability to edit does not make you intelligent.
You'd be right.
All right, it is 912
912
322
322
845.
845.
And I'll have the other two ready for if you want to go to those two.
All right, Nooch 2 Hyper. So the question I had is, I had somebody ask me this, what do I think the biggest Hyperdrive mistakes are? And I thought this would be a really good one to ask you, because as someone who has the Hyperdrive, I think you would have a lot more perspective here. So what are the biggest Hyperdrive mistakes you see?
It's... One is modding. You're automatically behind on mods, right? So you Hyperdrive. If somebody took the time to go through levels 1 to 85, or even if they took the time to go through like levels 1 to 75, and then they went Hyperdrive bundle, they're going to be ahead of you on mods right away. So you've got to get in and hammer those mods. I mean, like right there. That's
fast. That's faster than my Piet.
Yeah, you've got to farm the living heck out of mods from the moment you get that Hyperdrive open, and you got to pick your spots. Like you see right there, I've got Piet going, faster than all world fast.
Yep.
Moff Gideon doesn't really need to be as fast because what's gonna happen is Piet goes, everybody gets turn meter, and they're off to the races, and then Gideon still goes before the entire other team and sucks all their turn meter away. So, but you are really that's number one is. You got to get ahead on mods. If you go to the Hyperdrive bundle, because I see these accounts all the time. You open it up, and they're 2 months into the Hyperdrive bundle, and they got Darth Vader with all health mods, and there's you got 6 mods with no speed secondaries all the time on roster reviews. So that's number one, is getting on the mods. The second thing I see is just people not really... If you're going to do the Hyperdrive bundle, have a plan. You just spent your money. You just spent $50 if you got lucky, $25 or whatever your current of your own hard-earned money. Have a plan before you spend that money. Don't go in and then just start grabbing like Jedi Counselor and and Ugnaught or whatever. Don't go in and start. If you scroll down, you're gonna see all the level 85 star characters, right, that are on my
Oh,
roster.
yep.
And just you get those, but you can't just like my clones. I haven't touched my clones because they don't fit. I'm not doing a gas rush. They don't really fit into what I'm doing. Well, fives because
But
I got the ship
yeah,
right.
yeah,
But
fleets.
yeah. Right, and then Clone Sergeant you get with the Bronziums, but I haven't touched them, and they're really tempting to touch because they're a good team. But I've got to stay focused. My first focus was to get the Executor, which I think should be the focus of every Hyperdrive account. I think the first thing you should do as a Hyperdrive is get Executor. That's not saying I don't think anything in this game is a hard fast rule. Everybody does what they want. It's a game. Have fun with it. Get the stuff you want. But if you want the best path, go get Executor. Get it as fast. I did it in 6 months. I did spend extra money along the way to make sure my crystals were refreshed. But you can get You can get the Executor in 6 to 7 months with a minimal amount of spend after doing the Hyperdrive bundle.
And I want to give a massive shout out to you having a Relic 5 Cad Bane because nothing, if I ever review rosters, nothing infuriates me more than someone with Executor and like a Gear 11 or Gear 8 Cad Bane because he's not a requirement for the ship. Because it makes a huge difference having him at Relic levels. I don't think people recognize how big that is.
You need to speed up there. And I will tell you, when I unlocked Executor, I guess it's almost 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago now. I actually it was a 6-star Xandu Blood and a Gear 12 cam at the time that I unlocked it. But that was just because at the end of the farm, I just pushed all the requirements, right?
Yep. Yeah.
I've been farming Xandu Blood the whole way, and I've been farming Cad Bane, but then I got like within breathing distance, and I was either gonna push the requirements and get it done in April, or I was gonna have to wait till May.
Yeah.
So I decided I'm gonna push out IG 2000. I'm gonna get all these guys Relic, and I had Cad Bane done within a week, I think, of getting it done. So, that's another thing I think with farming that people may not think about. But sometimes at the end of a really important farm, you kind of put everything else on hold for a week or two while you finish off that farm.
Yeah, I would, because it's funny, I'm in the middle of my own with Jabba, and I now like doing tickets. I'm not farming any light side nodes whatsoever, and it's just like, you bite the bullet and you sit there, nope, I'm not doing that. So, yeah, I love the Cad Bane Relic, like, you do not know how happy that makes me because I'm such a stickler I tell everybody that BAM and Cad Bane are basically requirements for Executor and that you need to put gear on them because otherwise you're just going to be food for the First Order.
I was about to ask, are you going to yell at me about BAM then?
Not quite as much because that Razor Crest you can get a little bit away with it, I think, more so than... Because Cad Bane's your first target. Nobody ever targets Razor Crest first. So if you can get Cad Bane there, Razor Crest is fine.
The AI seems to target Razor Crest first a lot.
The AI, but like if you're going in to counter that, I'm targeting your Xanadu Blood before I think about BAM.
I gotcha.
So the next one I had was with these new accounts that you have. What's the free to play account? Because this is where the next question I had for you.
Okay. Go ahead.
So with like your hard nodes, do you remember when you first had your original account that it was a 3 attempts on hard nodes instead of 5? Do you remember those days? This is dating myself.
I gotta tell you, I don't.
Because
I mean, I know I was playing at that time.
Because I remember those days of someone, if I'm wrong, correct me, as I know YouTube will do anyway. I don't need to say that. But yeah, it was like 3 attempts on hard nodes, and I wanted to ask, like, do you notice yourself ever feeling like you're farming is it better to farm too many characters early or just enough and then focus everything on gear? Because we're at these really weird stages where everything is shifting to hard nodes, but then we're getting, like, today, I don't know if you saw this in the update that came out. At the time of recording, guys, we just got the Marin update. But where's it at? First Order Stormtrooper.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, this is the greatest node, for the Supreme Leader Kylo Ren farm. I mean, oh my gosh. A 12 energy node at that. Those are, like, joke.
that is now an amazing node, and it probably I would think that is going to save you at least 2 weeks on a free-to-play Kylo Ren farm.
Yeah.
And it might save you more. I always do say though, the shards come easy and the gear comes hard, but you're saving yourself because Lobster used to be, I think it was a 20 energy node, right?
I think it's 80 because he moved to. Let me check. I
He
did it.
was in. I'll tell you right now. If I'll look at mine right now,
I have. It's
and I type my.
It's this one.
Okay.
Because Tusken Chieftain is one of my characters I'm farming now, so I just did the node today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be 16. So 16. So 80. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. But yeah, you save yourself 80 energy a day that you can put somewhere else.
And that's.
But yeah, your question, and I typed my ally code in the chat in our chat there if you want to.
Oh, perfect.
Have you seen the name on this account?
Hold on. Is it? I want to remember if I think it's the one because I laughed when I saw it.
This was not my choice, by the way.
Yeah, I knew it had Arnold T101 in it, and it cracks me up.
If you watch the stream, I did a stream where I started this account and we spent like 3 hours playing.
Oh my gosh!
That first day of playing, you play forever, right?
Yep.
And we took a vote. I'm like, I don't know what to name this thing. Should I name it, Nooch 2 Free or whatever? And somebody goes, bet Arnold T101 in chat. And everybody went ballistic. I'm like, well, I guess we're voting, and it was 80%. And so I'm like, well, that's the name of the account then. You guys did it. And the purpose of this account, I was looking to make a free-to-play farming guide, which I just put out, a few days ago.
Yes.
But I hadn't played free-to-play in, almost 3 years. And so I wanted to get back in, see what it's like now with all the way the farming is, and what it's like now with the web store too, right? That makes a huge difference.
Yep.
Getting 100 energy a day or whatever you're getting at the time of the web store is that's a giant difference for a free-to-play account. And also what just happened too is these 2 new calendars just came out, right?
Yes.
So you're getting, and I don't know if we don't know if they're permanent yet or they're temporary, but you should be able to get one calendar once you hit level 4. You should be able to get one calendar out of the web store, and then one calendar should pop up in game that you get, and you get all the sim tickets you want. So even in the time that I've been playing this for 8 weeks now, I put out my 8-week update today. The whole game changed in that time.
Yeah.
And I was sweating sim tickets at the start and only farming hard nodes, but I think now you can take some time and farm gear. I just think that you're gonna have to. I really think you have to farm geos as your fleet at the beginning. It's the best way to go.
Yep.
You got to farm those geos, and it's 2 Cantina nodes. Sunfac, you got to grab them in other places. So you're going to have to keep leveling them up. And if you go the way I go with Troopers and Ahsoka, and I'm trying to farm that Old Republic team. If you look at that, if you get to the Old Republic, right now it looks like that. But I've got 4 of these characters ready to upgrade to star levels, 1 or 2 star levels.
Yep.
And I just don't have the credits for it. So I'm trying to keep this farm going too. So I really do think, even with the changes in sim tickets, I believe your early focus should still be on farming characters. And you might farm up a character like Dooku where you don't need him.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Until you get the nodes open, maybe you do farm gear early on. It's just that farming that gear, you're going to have it, even if you farm it today, you're going to have it open in a week or 2 anyway, because from the daily challenges.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think hard nodes is a better way to go if at all possible, and maybe you can find a way to, maybe you find a team in there, maybe you get up a Mandalorian team, or you can get up that the Mandalorian team, since they're giving you free shards in that now too. So I don't really have a good answer for that. Probably you should still farm the hard nodes, but it wouldn't kill you with all the new sim tickets that you're getting if you do farm gear for a week or 2 at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, because my next question is, with credit heist, can your Scoundrels do tiers of credit heist? Because that's the other I don't want to say mistake, but when players ignore their Scoundrels, they don't have the credits, not realizing that early on that is your only source of credits.
Yeah. So you to get to the max level of credit heist, you have to be level 80. So it just came out like last week or something.
Yep.
And I did complete it with that Boba Fett and that Mandalorian there. Having the Mandos disintegrate was I can't even. That was the difference maker.
Yep.
I didn't 3-star it though, but I had Grief and Lando and Stormtrooper Han in there. I wonder if I'd left them out, if I might have gotten a 3-star on it. But yeah, that level 73 Boba Fett and that level 65 Mando with the disintegrate did get the job done.
And that's That's all you guys need right there. That is like he's preaching what I love to hear. That just bare minimum for as much as you can.
Yeah.
So my
And I
next,
also preach that Boba Fett, you've got to that's got to be your first farm for the exact reason you just talked about. Boba Fett has to be your first farm in the Cantina shop to 7 stars because of credit heist.
and then are you farming his ship as well?
Not really. The issue for me was I was completely dialed in on geos, and you get to level 60 and ships open, and then I didn't get access to or is it 65? I can't remember, but it was 5 levels later before I could get to the second tier of that.
Uh huh.
And just to be straight up, I started this account. I'm not planning on playing this thing long term. I can't manage 3 accounts long term. There's just no
Yep.
way you can't do it. And so my goal with this account was to see what free to play farming was like in 2023. And I'm going to play it to level 85. Then I'm going to play through 1 round of Grand Arena just to kind of see what it's like to play it. I do think you should be farming that Boba Fett ship node because you really should keep Executor in mind. But as a free to play player, you're talking 9 to 10 months, and who knows what we're looking at by then. It was something I really talked about a lot in my free to play guide. So farm that Executor because it's going to help you in Grand Arena. But I'm not sure you should just go, full hog Executor right from the start because there's just things you got to worry. A lot of things to concern yourself with as an early free-to-play player.
I do. The trooper rush is something I'm seeing a lot more that I like. It makes sense. And the other thing I was going to ask is like you ignored Phoenix here, which is very.
Yeah.
And when I originally was putting out my guide, I still had Phoenix in there, and I'm very close to like taking them out because part of me says Phoenix or so like when do you get Thrawn? And that's my only good argument for why you farm them early is when you want to get Sith Eternal, all of a sudden you're going to be sitting there farming Ezra, farming Hera, and that's brutal. Like if you guys don't know that, it is brutal when you want relic mats and then you're sitting there farming a Cantina character. It's like the worst feeling. But
Yeah.
I like the troopers because they get you that's 2 assault battles.
The troopers get you 2 assault battles, and they mop up Galactic. I'm autoing Galactic War with that team right now, and you can see that Piet is 4 stars and Dark Troopers 5 stars. I'm autoing Galactic War with that with my trooper team right now, and I'll tell you how the Phoenix went. So I made about 3 or 4 weeks in, I made a video that said nobody should stop farming Phoenix, and man, I got a lot of pushback on that.
Yeah.
A lot of pushback. And so then I took a poll on a stream, and 70% of people still said you should farm the Phoenix. So I looked at it again, and I will tell you right now, looking at my roster, there's an important character I don't have, and his name is Sheev.
Oh,
And
I didn't even look for that yet.
yeah, I don't have him. And if you look at my rebels, I may not have him by level 85. I do have Farm Boy up where I think I could 5 and almost 6-star right now, and the same with Old Ben because I'm getting them out of the guild activity store when they're available. Princess Leia, I think right now I have at about 5 stars farmed, and Stormtrooper Han at 4 stars. And of course, I'll have my troopers up to 7 stars by the time I get there, so I'll be able to get R2D2.
Yeah,
I'm just not 100% sure I'll have Palpatine ready for my first round of Grand Arena, and that would have been nice to have. And it's a lot easier to get there with the Phoenix. It's a tough trade, man. It's a tough trade.
I think you could because Commander Luke is a sub 85 requirement now, right? You don't need to be level 85 to do that. So if you get him and you throw in like your Leia, R2, Storm, you might be able to do it.
Right. The trade-offs or the opportunity cost, someone reminded me today. Stormtrooper Hound is in Cantina Farms or Cantina Shop. And I did Boba Fett first like I said. I did Ahsoka second, and I just finished her to 7 stars like a week ago. And so now I'm working on Stormtrooper Han, and I just don't know that I'm going to have him to 7 stars by the time I hit level 85. And kind of the same thing with Princess Leia in Squad Arena. I did Tarkin first.
Yep, which makes sense.
Who did I do second in there?
Let's see.
Maybe it's Princess Leia.
She's probably the next. Mace, is he in the? Or are you just getting him free because he's also.
You know what? I took Mace to 7 stars. I should have. I should have took. Well, I've got 200. I actually have 234 shards of Leia right now, so I'm fine on Leia. I'm fine
Yep.
on Leia.
Yeah, you'll get there.
But Han, I am behind on Han. I've only got 55 out of 30 shards to take him to 4 stars. So, doing Boba Fett and then doing Ahsoka, which I kind of think maybe I could have skipped Ahsoka, but I'm using her ship, for the ship ability materials challenge. I got her ship at 5 stars. It's just a tough trade-off there between Ahsoka and Stormtrooper Han with the energy I put into that shop.
I get it. That's one of the biggest things that I think hurts free to play new players right now is that there's almost too much in the game that you have to find that focus because back it was almost easier when there wasn't Galactic Legends because you couldn't really fault anybody for farming Ahsoka or Stormtrooper Han or this or that because it's just go farm what you want. Now I think you've hit on a bunch of the topics that I had in here, like just so you didn't like the web store and daily logins, like you crushed them, so it's perfect. But like there wasn't all these things to focus on back in the day, so you could kind of follow your heart where you're kind of saying like, oh well, what about CLS? What about Emperor Palpatine? And you're right, it's all a trade-off on what you're willing to sacrifice for your account. Like we saw, if you guys haven't seen, by the way, I need to pause here because I haven't done this yet because I'm a rude person and don't think, but go subscribe to Nooch channel. I really should have put that first, and I am so sorry. But no, guys, he's amazing. This is where I've gotten advice from him. He has a lot of really good stuff on there. And one of the other things we talked about was, oh man, and now that's gonna escape me because I was just, my Old Republic he was gonna destroy my Old Republic for them all being low gear. And that's one of the trade-offs that I've lived with is that I just never went around to gearing them because it was a get Jedi Knight Revan to plug into Jedi Master Luke and move on with my life. But yeah, that kind of circled around back to me right there.
Yeah, it's like if you guys go to my channel, watch the video I do with Fat Phil, I do yell at him for that. So, I yell at people all the time for that. Why did you spend... People do it when they don't have Jedi Master Luke. They spend like 3 months of their life farming Jedi Knight Revan and then leave them at gear 10. And you're like, why did you even bother? You could have farmed something else, just anyway. Ugh.
And then the last question I had for you. Oh, I get my login.
Oh, hey, look, it's your refresh time.
The last question I had was if you were to start if you were to do the Hyperdrive over again, would you still get, I think you got, are you going for Sith Eternal or are you going for Kylo?
I'm going for Kylo.
And then will you still go for Sith Eternal? It is my question for you, because this is, I know, a hot topic for me. Do you still recommend players get Sith Eternal early?
So I made a video like 3 months ago that said, I really like the idea of Springer Kylo, Executor, and Sith Eternal because they all those farms flow into each other really well. I don't think it hurts you. I do think if you're going to get Sith Eternal, you should relic Savage Opress and get his Omicron. Because that's going to give you it's going to give you a defensive team. I have faced a Darth Maul lead, like full Sith Eternal team. It was Darth Maul, Savage Opress, who else was Sith Marauder,
and like Sidious,
and Dooku. And I faced that team in Grand Arena, and my troopers couldn't even. I never touched it. I couldn't get through. I couldn't even get past Savage Opress.
Yeah.
So it gives you another team in there, and plus you're farming a trooper team. If you farm, honestly, if I've already farmed my troopers up, if I got Veers and Stark sitting there at gear 12, I just don't think it's a bad move. And plus, if I got to go get another Galactic Legend, I got to start from scratch, basically.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad move. You're going to be very dark side heavy. And that was the biggest complaint people had when I made them. You're all dark side. Nobody's going to want you. It's like, that's just not true.
Yeah, no, it's not true at all.
You can get into a GOTB guild on day one of playing the game. If you go around, if you look on the forums, there are people, if you say, hey, I'm day one, I'm gonna put my full effort in this, I'm gonna get my geos farmed up.
Yep.
It's gonna take me 3 or 4 months, but I'll get there. There are guilds that are dying to have a player that will get all their tickets every day. And you can get into a guild that's doing GOTB and doing heroic raids on day one, if you will promise to farm your geos for that guild.
Yeah,
They're out there. Go find them.
I was gonna say just farm your geos like gear 11, gear 12, and people will praise you for getting watch shards.
Right. So Sith Emperor. Would I advise people to get Sith Emperor? I don't know if I would advise it, but I don't think it's a bad move at all. Especially if you get that Savage Omicron. That Savage Omicron really creates an entire other team for you in Grand Arena.
Yes.
And that's so important on that Sith Eternal team because you got all those extra Sith that don't really go anywhere otherwise.
No. Yeah. And what I think of Sith Eternal, I think the reason I'm so harsh is that every single Galactic Legend that's come out since Kenobi has basically made him worse in some way, shape, or form. Like, Kenobi, when they first launched him, Sith Eternal was handling him really well. It was actually fun to use the Night Sister Zombie. I don't know if you knew this counter, but you would use Sith Eternal with Night Sister Zombie, Acolyte, and Sith Assassin. And as long as you survive the opening barrage, they could never target Sith Eternal because Sith Assassin would be in stealth and Acolyte would be in stealth for the whole battle. Mm-hmm. And then Zombie would just sit there and take all these hits, and you just wait, sit behind your ultimate, and then just nuke the entire team. And then they fixed that because that was cheap. And then Lord Vader came out, and Sith Eternal can't really beat Lord Vader because once he hits ultimate, he's immune to shock. And then, I mean, Jabba's kind of wishy-washy with that. I think you could maybe do it with the... But I just feel like he's lost a lot of steps. He needs a lifter. That's the biggest thing. But...
So, two things on that. I think we'll get a lifter at some point, right? That's going to happen. But I think that... And I think that there's a perspective here, right? What you asked me was somebody starts a new Hyperdrive account and they get Executor and they get SLKR, which if you spend, Hyperdrive account, then you spend $20 to $50 a month, you can probably do both those things in a year, right?
Yes, I would agree with that.
And then if you go into Sith Eternal next, you can probably get him in another 4 to 6 months. Well, you're looking at an account then that's probably around 3.5 million that's got 2 Galactic Legends and the Executor. That account should not be worried about can Sith Eternal beat Jedi Master Kenobi or can Sith Eternal beat... You're not going to see any Lord Vaders at 3.5 million. Like one out of
with the new
500 players at Lord Vader.
With the current GAC matchmaking, you might.
Well, mate. Well, yeah. Well, I know, right, but you can't control that. That's out of your control.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, I think for that level of an account, if you're looking at an account that's 3 to 4 million and there's 2 Galactic Legends on it, whoever those 2 Galactic Legends are, and Executor, who cares if it's Sith Eternal? It's a Galactic. You got to pick your spots for him, but he still is a Galactic Legend, whether he's the worst Galactic Legend or what. Scribe just made a video, I think it was today, and he ranked his which ones you should farm first, and he put Sith Eternal second because he's so easy to get.
Yep.
And everybody dogs on him, but he's a Galactic Legend.
Yeah, he still does work.
He can solo gas. I mean, the guy does great things. So I don't have a problem with people making him your second Galactic Legend or your first Galactic. I think Kylo's your best first Galactic. I mean, everybody says it. Everyone is right. There's nothing creative to do there. Kylo as a first Galactic Legend, and now he's even more so now that you can farm First Order Stormtrooper and Sith Trooper on the same node.
Yes.
He should be your first Galactic Legend. So right on my account right now that Newt's 2 Hyper, I finished Executor. I'm in kind of that. You always have a recovery period after you do a big farm like that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I got to finish off some stuff. I got to get my BAM to relic levels. I'm going to work on my CLS team. I'm farming Wicket right now, so I can go get 3PO. I'm farming Chew PO. But what I'm doing while I'm doing all that is I'm farming all I'm working on farming all the nodes, and I'm farming like TIE Echelon to go with my finalizer. I'm farming Kylo shuttles. So I'm working on that. So I'm in that in-between node. But I don't know who my third Galactic Legend is going to be. I'm actually thinking of doing a little fundraising so maybe I can go get the next Galactic Legend like right out of the gate. But I would have no problem making it Sith Eternal.
Because the other argument I've been making a lot is that, like, you're with those bounty hunters and your executors, like that your Kylo and Jabba start making a lot of sense as long as you're not going crazy into those other things. That's like the next thing that sits in the back of my head. Now, again, the point being Guild Event Currency 1 becomes a huge problem with that.
Yeah, your guild event courtesy 1 and 2 with Rolo, because you have to start vesting in Rolo. And if you're a new Hyperdrive account, you want to make sure you want to get Malevolence and Negotiator as fast as possible.
Ooh.
So you'd have to sacrifice probably one of those ships to get Rebel Officer Leia Organa with your Get To currency along the way. If you're going to go get Jabba with your bounty hunters.
All right, last question, and then I have my. You guys know what's coming last because we have to save it for the end. But Malevolence or Negotiator first?
Either one. I don't.
Oh.
I don't. Oh, you just groaned.
Yeah. There's a.
Well, I mean, the thing is that you're farming the Geo ships. You can farm the 2 droid chips really easily, and boom, you got them for the Malevolence. I get that I'm guessing that's what you were thinking.
Yeah. I go. Yeah. Go ahead. Now you finish, and then I'll tell you what I think.
No, my other part of it is that I look at Jedi Knight Anakin as almost a required farm for any new player. Just because you're going to get that Qui-Gon Omicron, and he's his own team in Grand Arena. You're going to get Padme easily. So you're sitting there with Padme, you're going to get General Kenobi. You have Anakin. You're going to get Ahsoka. You're going to build 2 teams. So he's kind of a required farm, and that makes his ship a required farm. I think Ahsoka's ship is a required farm. It's so easy to get. And just those 2 ships are what makes that Galactic Republic fleet. So, yeah, I do think that Malevolence is a little more low-hanging fruit for you, since if you're already farming the Geos, it makes more sense to get that.
Yes.
And I understand it, because I look at them as equal ships.
Yes, they are.
I just think that if you want to go for one or the other, they're really on equal footing. I will say this, though. Malevolence can, in the right situation, counter Executor. It has a little bit more counter ability. It's just not as good on defense.
Yes.
But I get what you're saying with Malevolence.
Because I've been telling everybody to 5-star Malevolence because it's a much better low star ship. You 5-star it, and then you go 7-star Galactic Republic.
Let me add a caveat. You have to go get General Grievous then, and that's not an easy thing to do. It's not easy to do, because if you're gonna get in the most efficient way, if you get in the most efficient way, it's in Fleet Arena, and getting to 7 stars in Fleet Arena is no easy task.
No, yeah, it's a big caveat, but I think you could do that arguably faster than getting General Kenobi as a new player.
Really? Oh man,
I don't. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Depends how quickly you find a guild doing the AAT raid.
Yeah, and I've been able to do that quickly, but I kind of have some advantages. On my free-to-play account, I actually joined a guild that... Well, no, I joined a guild, a low-level guild. I think you can get into AAT raid immediately.
Really?
Any new player out there, go look on the forums. Look, I'm sure, Fat Phil, you got some recruiting on your Discord. I've recruiting on my Discord server.
Yep.
You will find a guild that will take you as a new player if you commit to certain farms, and you're going to get all your tickets every day. People need activity trumps a big roster every day for a lot of guilds.
Yes. Yeah, that I 100% agree with that. As a guild officer, I will tell you 100%. I'd rather take a smaller account that's going to do stuff to a certain degree.
Right.
But Nooch, I've kept you way too long, but I do want to end this. I want to praise Wampa together, guys. Wampa will hit Relic 8 when this channel hits 5,000 subscribers, guys. I want to thank Nooch so much. I want to say, very much an inspiration. And I'm not just, gaslighting him. Very much an inspiration as a fellow dad to be able to do this and create content for you guys. So I really appreciate him kind of showing me the ropes here. Appreciate all the content he puts out, guys. I love all of you. May the Force be with you. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Cheers. Thank you, Nooch.
Yeah, no problem. Nooch too good.